How's everybody out there doing? Welcome to Kind Idaho. This is a podcast today, and I am Idaho Joe. I am one of the spokespeople for Kind Idaho. Now, some of you are familiar with some of the other stuff I do. Mind you, Kind Idaho is a nonpartisan organization, so please refrain from asking me any questions about other things. We'll do a different podcast for that some other time. So, as I was talking about earlier today, this is an Ask Me Anything about what's going on with legalization, in particular medical, because that's what Kind Idaho is about here. Yes, that's what it's about. We are about medical. See the green cross? Yes. And the pink heart, reason why we like the pink heart is because the pink is for breast cancer. Thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate you joining us today. Appreciate it. So, I'm going to go ahead and give you a background on some of the things that are going on with Kind Idaho right now. We are up to 5,000, closing in on about 6,000 signatures on our ballot. That makes us about a tenth of the way we need to be, and we need volunteers. We need you. We need people who are going to come out and help us do the work and get us involved in things. Now, right there, you see scrolling along the bottom, that is our Kind Idaho page, okay? That is our donation site. Yeah, I know, it's Act Blue, but they're working with us, and the beautiful thing about Act Blue is that they are set up to work with political action committees and other organizations of the Kind Idaho as a political action committee can make sure that they do meet all of the Sunshine Law requirements associated with trying to get, well, being a political action committee and getting the medical marijuana initiative on the ballot. So feel free to ask questions at any time. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Now, we have two amazing chairs. Matter of fact, right now, almost all of the executive members of the board are women. We have Jackie Winters. She's done amazing things. She's very much a proponent. She loves working on this. Reason why is because she's a trauma survivor. Her daughter is a cancer survivor, brain cancer. And part of the reason why she's been successful on both of these fronts has to do with medical marijuana. Using marijuana medicinally, using it as it was intended, as a natural remedy for a lot of things that go on in life. We have our co-chair, Gisela Waggins, amazing woman. She's been very involved with NOW, National Organization of Women, particularly the Idaho Southwest chapter. Very proactive on women's rights, very proactive on medical marijuana. Both of these women have been involved in the Idaho marijuana legalization program for, well, upwards of a decade now. Jackie's done some amazing things with stuff she's had time to do, working with other organizations before finally striking out and creating Kind Idaho. So let's go ahead. One of the missions behind Kind Idaho is the medical marijuana program. Okay, so we talk an awful lot about legalization, decriminalization. Where is it we actually want to go with marijuana in the state of Idaho? Do we want to go decriminalization? Do we want to go recreational? Do we want to do legalization? And thing is all of these terms are very loaded terms, and they mean different things to different people for different reasons. So let's just focus on what it is Kind Idaho wants to do. And that is recognition of a need for medical quality marijuana for a significant number of the residents of the state of Idaho. Marijuana, medical represents a capability, a capacity. Okay, Roxanne, when is the latest I can vote to put this on the ballot? Okay, so the thing is, Roxanne, this isn't a vote. we actually need you to put a signature to a ballot initiative. So a petition sheet, it's been circulating. We have it on the Kind Idaho page where you can go. We have several locations, and you can even contact us here on Facebook or one of our other locations and find somebody in your local area to go and sign the petition. So right now, the due date is we need to be turning these in no later than April 1st. Uh, okay, Roxanne, so you're out of town right now. Uh, One of the things you can do is you can download the petition from the Kind Idaho website, uh, sign it, uh, have somebody notarize it for you, and then send it in to Jackie at her location, the address. If you can contact, I will look you up later and contact you, and we will see about getting you a petition so that you can get it signed. Uh, just need to let me know when and where. Um, Actually, Barrett, no, we did not change the ballot initiative any from the one that ran 2 years ago. When Idaho Citizens Coalition was busy working with their process, they did a very good job. They worked with Marijuana Policy Project in trying to get the medical marijuana program set up. So we literally, after COVID shut us down last year, uh, we just picked it up, refiled it, and we're running with it again. So it is the exact same one we did 2 years ago, Barrett. Appreciate that question. And Roxana, absolutely. So, Stephen, right? And yeah, so many people do not realize that anyone uses this wonderful medicine, either rec or medicinal. Um, Yeah, even when you are using it recreationally, you're still having the medical benefits from it. That's just like about any medicine that makes you feel better. The 5 hour energy drink that's loaded with B12 and niacin, it makes you feel better. Same use with medical marijuana. Even if you're using it recreationally, there are still health benefits associated with it. Whether you're smoking it, whether you're using the edibles, even if you're just using it as a joint ointment, like grandma used to use for arthritis, back when the THC liniments used to be a big thing before we made them illegal back in 1890. I think that was it. But yeah, it is the exact same. And thank you for the help last time, Barrett. Hopefully, we expect to get a little bit further along. Like I said, we've already had 5,000 authorized and validated through the counties this time. And we're looking at moving a big push through the holidays. And it's not so much the holidays itself that we're looking for the big push, but this is the time for people to do the family gatherings, get together for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, all those big events. For those of you who, still aren't doing the COVID thing, the family Zoom call on Thanksgiving Day where y'all get to watch each other eat turkey legs over, Zoom, all of this beautiful electronic stuff that we're doing these days. Yeah. But talk to your family, talk to your friends, your neighbors, let them know that we are actually still doing this petition thing. We are working on getting medical marijuana. Um, the Eastern Idaho support, we got a few people out there. We got a number of places, storefronts, uh, Cat's Bridle in Idaho Falls, I believe. We got some vape shops over in Pocatello as well as Rexburg that are running the petitions for us. So it's like we got a lot of sites. As far as active volunteers actually being able to get out to locations and do things, just like all of the volunteer organizations right now that are involved in doing person to person work, we still have an awful lot of our volunteers that are very concerned about COVID. So they're taking a step back and they're finding other ways to get involved, other ways to collect signatures. But yes, right now the vape shops happen to be our big proponents, our big locations for getting signatures and collecting signatures. Um, Love Magic Valley. Signature collections are always good up there. We're doing pretty good on them. Again, go to the website, take a look at how we are doing, again, volunteers. Talk to your family, talk to your friends. Get them to go out to the meet and greets with you, sign the petition, get them notarized, get them turned into your local courthouse, and make arrangements for us to come by and pick them up. We do good things with all of that, and we do really good, actually. But yeah, so back to the mission. Yeah, I wandered off from that. Thank you guys all for asking your questions. Love your questions. Absolutely great questions. Uh, but back to the mission at Kind, Idaho. One of the things we noticed in every state once it gets legalized, okay, once we go from the medical program to the recreational program, is the medical program almost always dies. Okay. Let's admit it, in most of the states where they have a medical program and a recreational program, there's more money in the recreational. One, they don't have to meet standards of quality that's associated with the medical programs in most of the states. So it's less overhead, less expensive. They can put that into their profit margin. So that's one of the things we are an advocate for with Kind Idaho, particularly as far as the medical program goes, is maintaining good medical quality, medical grade marijuana in the dispensaries. Being able to test it, being able to make sure we have consistent quality, consistent performance, that you have the availability of the varieties that you need. We often talk about the varieties. One of the big talking points, reason why an awful lot of people, keep saying is, well, marijuana is stronger now than it was when I was a kid. Um, well, in a certain sense, that's true, but it's still not so strong that it's dangerous. It's not like the kids today, that don't have access to marijuana and they start experimenting with other things. They have access to opioids, they have access to heroin. Uh, right now, we have a problem with fentanyl imposter drugs that are being circulated, on the street. They look like prescription, they do, but they're laced with fentanyl. And next thing you know, it's a fentanyl overdose and you got dead kids. Marijuana is one of those things, it's still all natural, it's still grown. As long as it is going through a dispensary, the dispensary is able to test consistently for quality and making sure that their product isn't laced, which is one of the problems you have so often when you're dealing with street drugs. If you have a nice storefront that is legitimate, that is upfront, that lets you know that they test, yes, they test the product that comes into their store on a regular basis, that they have quality suppliers, that they know where their supply is coming from, that they've been, you know, not just to the bottling site, but they've been to the farm that's actually grown, and they've seen the soil samples that the marijuana has been grown in. When you are able to look at that and say, this is the continuity of the supply chain, this is the continuity I need to guarantee my safety, and in several locations, not only do the dispensaries sell the marijuana, they also sell their testing kits too. So you can test your marijuana to see whether or not it's laced once you get home. Gotta love somebody who wants you to trust the quality of stuff, especially when it's legal and it's all above board. But that is Kind Idaho. That is what we want to focus on. We want to focus on that green cross. We want to make sure that there is always a program, that there is consistent quality, and that there are people who believe in making sure that patients in the state of Idaho have quality medical marijuana that answers their medical needs. You know, one of the big things, one of the reasons why it was so important for us to get this up and off the ground. And I really thank all of you guys for joining me here today. Yeah, and Again, it's important. Pay attention to that information that's going along the bottom there. That is our donation page. That is through Act Blue. Donate kind-idaho -1. That is our page that donates directly to the organization. This is Kind Idaho. This is the PAC. This is the board with Jackie Winters and Gisela Waggins are the chairs, the co-chair, and we have Jerry. She is our treasurer, amazing woman. She's working with her daughter who's has issues as well. So these are all people that have a vested interest, in making sure that this mission succeeds, that we are able to get a good, solid medical program operating in the state of Idaho, and telling the world just how important this is, to them, but to the 200,000 marijuana users in the state of Idaho. It's important to have consistency. It's important to have an education. It's important to understand why you're using. So we talk an awful lot about gateway drugs. Okay. It's one of the things, they love to say the dangers of marijuana because marijuana is a gateway drug. Russell Brand actually has a quote out, and most of you have probably seen it. But drugs are not the gateway. Alcohol is not the gateway. Cigarettes are not the gateway. Trauma is the gateway. Trauma is the reason why most of us self-medicate. Whether we drink, whether it's nicotine, even to a certain degree, caffeine. The things that we do, the way we self-medicate, yes, absolutely, Zach. Mental health, it's a big issue. We use a number of different things as self-medication in order to cope with trauma. Okay. Now, we don't necessarily always know that when we start using. Okay, we don't know why we use, but we look at it and we go, this helps me. This helps me cope. And it becomes a coping mechanism. And again, that's one of the other projects that we're currently working on with Kind Idaho, is we want to remove the stigma of mental health. Thank you, Zach. So that we can actually seek care and we can properly use the medicines that are made available to us. And again, this goes back to quality, consistency, and the type of THC. We talk about indica, we talk about sativa, we talk about the different things they do for you. What is it that, helps alleviate anxiety? What is it that helps relieve pain? What is it that helps us cope? Yeah, and that's part of it, is learning how to use medical marijuana to regain our mental health in a way that no longer has a stigma associated with the treatment, with the care. We're no longer using it as a coping mechanism, but we are using it as a means to an end. And we are using it to regain ourselves by helping us remove the stress so that we can think through the process. We are engaged in our own mental health again. We are engaged in healing trauma. We are engaged. And that's one of the things we need to get back to, is being engaged in our own healing rather than just self-medicating as a trauma coping mechanism. And as we move on, this is just going to be the first podcast in a long series. Every week you get to come on here and join me. And as we go on, we'll continue to have this conversation, not just with me, but with other people, other doctors who have studied it, other professionals, nurses, professionals that have come in from outside, and in some cases, clergy even. We talk about a number of, well, one of the big things is we always talk about how social conservatives, about how clergy, about how the church frown on the use of certain drugs. Well, we've seen that come around quite a bit lately. Here in Idaho, one of the biggest, we have two very large congregations that we consider here in the state of Idaho. One, of course, is the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is very prominent here in the state of Idaho. And of course, the other is the Latter-day Saints. The LDS Church and the Mormons, very strong representation here in Idaho. And both of these religious organizations have come out in support of medical marijuana in the very recent past. The bishop, the quorum of 12, the president of the LDS Church, the Pope, they've all come out in support of medical marijuana. Reason why is because it's about healing. It is about regaining our sense of self, about regaining who we are, and healing, becoming able to be part of our community again. Not one of those where we're associated with, we've overdone it, we've abused it, because that isn't what Kind Idaho about. Kind Idaho is not about abusing. This is about constructive, responsible, and educated use of an extremely valuable medicinal product that's available to us. For whatever reason, I have family who uses it for pain management. Very involved, endometriosis. Very painful disease, continues to consistently cause problems because of the way it's propagated. She uses it for pain management. That is one of the few things that manages to keep her sane. I have friends and family who use it for anxiety relief. Not true. Marijuana is not for everybody. We talk about, well, nobody's allergic to marijuana. Well, okay. There are some people who, with chronic use, yes, chronic use, do develop some side effects. These are noted. But that's part of another mission of Kind Idaho, because responsible, educated use of marijuana for healing and for recovery, for whatever reason, whether it's pain, whether it's trauma, whether it's psychological, mental health, whether it's, something else that's going on in your life, is making sure that you are informed about how well or poorly it can work for you, in helping you find physicians and physicians' assistants who are willing to work with you and help you find the dosages that are appropriate for whatever it is you are experiencing. Right? You can't just go ripping a hand off a bong every time you want to, and expect the same result if you're not paying attention to the quality of what you're using or the quantity. Responsible use means consistent use. It means measured use. Be responsible, folks. Personal responsibility. But before you can be personally responsible, you need to be personally educated on how marijuana can work for you. I bring that back to Kind Idaho. That's what we're here for, folks. We are here to help make sure you are properly educated on the best way to take care of your health and whether or not marijuana is even a good idea for you and your particular condition. One of the things when I was growing up, my brother, he's got a learning disability order. He remembers, learning disabilities back in the 90s, back in the 80s. Ritalin was the answer for everything. If you didn't know how to learn Ritalin, if you didn't know how to learn more Ritalin, if you still couldn't learn even more Ritalin, before long you ended up with kids hyped up on, things that, well, one, the Ritalin wasn't working for them, obviously. So why did you keep piling more and more on top of that? This is the same thing. we are not looking at marijuana as a fix-all for everybody, because it's not. But by working with an appropriate physician who is careful, who is paying attention to your dosage, making sure that you're actually using the appropriate, you can come back and you can have that honest conversation with your physician and say, it's doing this for me, or it's not doing that for me, or maybe should I be using more? Should I be using less? This is about educating physicians. This is about educating, you know, well, in this case, reason why is because we still don't have the pharmaceuticals. We still don't have the pharmacists, right? The pharmacists, because we still don't have the pharmacists on board with this. We can't have you go to your pharmacist and say, you know, I'm on medical marijuana. What are the interactions with these other drugs? You know, we got bud tenders at the dispensary. How many of you talk to your pharmacist or your bud tender about what it is you're getting from the other organization? And again, that's another place where Kind Idaho comes in, is making sure that these two organizations are capable of talking to each other, making sure that they understand drug interactions, so that when your physician who prescribes Ritalin for one thing or Adderall, right, and medical marijuana for something else, you can still go to your pharmacist and say, my doctor just said I should do these two things together. And then your pharmacist can come along and say, no. Or yes. It's all a question of how things end up working out. So, again, thank you all for joining me today. This one was going to be a short one. Reason why is because we've been working on trying to plan this for a little while, but things, it's one of those things. People who want to come on and, we talk to about being a guest, they say, well, what have you done so far? Well, we haven't done anything because we're waiting for our first guest. And we finally decided, you know what? We can't keep waiting for our guests who want to come on. We need to start getting this information out to you. We need to start talking about who, I'm going to get this right sooner or later, who we are, our mission statement, what it is we want to do for you, what it is we want to do for Idaho, as far as making sure that we have a good, high quality medical marijuana program here, that we have the proper resources available for our dispensaries, and that above all, the physicians that get licensed to become, they get licensed to write prescriptions for medical marijuana, understand what it is they're writing the prescriptions for and what their expected results are going to be. Lots of opportunities coming up, lots of different ways we can do this. But I am closing up on 30 minutes here. And again, I'm still backwards. Kind Idaho. Pay attention to the little scroll right down here along the bottom. Secure Act Blue. Donate. Kind-Idaho-1. That is our Act Blue page. Go there. And well, that is one of the things I'm here to do today, is ask you for money, because money is what keeps us going around. This is what we need in order to make sure that Kind Idaho keeps its doors open and keeps doing the things that I'm talking about us doing today. Looking out for your mental health, looking out for your pain management, making sure that we have a good quality program, and that we have a marijuana industry that's native to Idaho. So you're no longer driving 60 miles to spend $2 million a week over in Ontario. Yes, that's what we spend in Ontario. Once a week, $2 million. Yes. 10% of Oregon's marijuana money was made in Ontario, Oregon last year. 10% of it. Oregon's got a lot more people than Idaho does. Ontario is still responsible for 10% of Oregon's marijuana sales. We could be keeping that here in Idaho, folks. We could be doing our own business here in Idaho. We could be growing it here. We could be treating, quality control here. We could be selling it here. And you could be using it here legally. Again, this comes back to what we're doing here at Kind Idaho, making sure that you have this as an option moving forward. So, with that, I'm signing off for today. It's been great talking to you. I will join you again at the same time next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we will talk more about marijuana. Get me your questions. You can send them directly to me here. Let me go ahead and post that here for you. For those of you who want to send questions, go at kindidaho.org. Yeah, right there. Send your questions to me right there, and I will answer them next week. Okay? Keep the questions coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I want to know what you want to know so that I can answer your questions. Send your questions to Joe at kindidaho.org. In the meantime, go to secure.actblue.com. Donate kind-idaho-1 so you can send money here and we can keep the doors up and running. Okay. Working on it, Idaho, working on it. So pay attention, folks. I will see you 7 days, 6 days, 23 hours, 30 minutes. Remember, folks, family, friends, community, as long as you got those three, you make anything happen. Stay kind, Idaho. Peace.